DomUniverse. Now this is the 5D video. Now we only going up from here. I'ma just jump right into it. So look at this. I've been reading this book, right? So I want to give credit to Marine J. Saint Germain. Amazing book here. In case this video isn't enough for you, you can go check this book out. But I'm here to simplify everything. Now let's check this out real quick because I just got done talking to y'all in previous videos, right? About reacting to stimuli. Alright? So this is how you understand, right? Yourself, your lower self and your higher self, your brain, your reptilian brain, etc., right? To be reactive to stimuli is to when you feel an emotion being stimulated in your brain or your body, right? A low vibrational emotion. Let's say it's anger or fear, whatever. And something that's outside of you is making you feel it because you're giving it the ability to do so. Remember, like how I used to say, when you react on the same level or the same way something is acting towards you, you are giving it the ability to govern your internal environment for that moment. So for example, let's say something annoying or angering is about to anger you. You have the ability to choose whether or not you want to get angry or have the upper hand in that situation. So that upper hand would be called being proactive. Being proactive, creating or controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has happened, right? So you have the ability to control your emotions, your energy, right? Your emotion, energy and motion. That is your energy. So nothing outside of you should be able to have control over that, not even for a second. Now, moving on here. So we already know about the reptilian brain. This ain't a picture that's showing like the mammalian and oh wait, there it is. Never mind, excuse me. Now right here you got the reptilian brain. This is you living in like an animal state, right? Or you think about you think from like an instinctive viewpoint. Dominant, survival. Sounds like an animal, right? Somewhat, right? Let's talk about the animal mindset. We already know about the chakras. We already know about the chakras. I don't even gotta say much about the chakras. But when you are somebody who is in your mammalian brain, okay. And before I even say something about that, if you don't know much about chakras, your chakras are measurable energy centers that exist in your organs, okay, in many different parts of your body. But for the most part, we talking about these ones right here, which is energy centers in your organs that are in your endocrine system that can be measured with tuning forks, okay? And science calls this, out of these chakras emanates an aura. This aura is what science calls the biofield, right? And when you got, it also comes from your blood. That's why blood has gold in it. That's why AU is the component, the initial, the little abbreviation or acronym for gold, because gold is a conductor of electricity. Your body is a conductor of electricity, but we ain't gonna get too deep into that. What's it called? Root chakra. Survival instinct, security, grounding. So it's just like how you living in a low vibration. You living in fear, basically. Everything is you living in fear. You probably got anxiety and depression, right? What do I mean by this? If you in the hood, right, it's just like with animals. Okay, I've gave this example multiple times. If you an animal, right, and you in the jungle, you have to hunt for food. You gotta watch your back and make sure ain't nothing gonna pounce on you and kill you and eat you. You gotta kill. You gotta do all that, right? Now this is why sometimes they call the hood the jungle, because they have to look over their shoulders. They gotta make sure they eat. They gotta make sure they have money. They gotta make sure they gotta look over their shoulder, make sure nobody kill them. If I didn't just say that, I'm over here tweaking. But listen, you also see that's called the animal mind state. All right, you living at a low vibration, and your conscience is dense. And you can't blame it on. It's not nobody's fault necessarily. because it's you are a product of your environment at that point, right? It's your environment making you that way. You ain't have nobody there to teach you the right type of information, tell you, okay, that this is how you not react to this is how you get out of this situation, this is how you get money this way. Because if a billionaire go broke, a billionaire would not care, because that billionaire still has the brain that knows how to make that money again, right? Like I be explaining to y'all. But we gonna keep it moving. This is a Hawking scale. This is your vibration / emotions. So when you a person who living like that, you are from right here to you are 20 to 150. This is all fear. You experience two main emotions, and after that you got, well, inside of these feelings, or from these feelings you have from these emotions you have feelings, like the rest of these and whatnot. The two main emotions you have are fear and love. So in certain situations, you have to ask yourself, is this person or this thing or situation making me feel love or fear? Because, yeah. Now, you want to be governed. You listen. Up here is where you want to be. Up here and up. From 500 and up. You want to, when you just love, that means you vibrate love. You love yourself and you have enough love to give out to other people. And it's not necessarily about having enough. You are infinitely vibrating love. People feel your aura. People feel your energy when you come in the room. People have that extrasensory perception when you step in the room. Then joy, that's just you finding something you enjoy. Something brings you joy, whether it be life or a occupation, a job, or just something. If you feel joy from stuff, life can make you feel joy. This is what it means to be high off life. So when you living in peace, you have an inner balance. So oftentimes this just means, from a 5D perspective, you don't even you just look at things like bad and good as things that's just supposed to be here, right? Things don't piss you off. You're not attached to results. You're not attached to outcomes. So being that you're not attached to outcomes, if you were in a situation that had two outcomes, one that's beneficial and one that's just not beneficial, if you experience the non-beneficial result, you wouldn't be pissed off about it, right? So let's keep it moving. That's being proactive. So right here you have fear. I'm gonna help y'all get out this illusion, because most people feel fear, right? Especially if you a young child, you in the dark. Just listen. Fear is an emotion created by the emotional body, which is the part of you on the inside that's feeling the emotions. But your emotional body is actually like one of the auras that's emanating from your chakras, which is, yeah. Uh, Fear is an emotion created by the emotional body as a mechanism to encourage you to step into your power. So fear is just like you reaching a new level type of deal, right? If you feeling it, right, that is a moment in a situation where you experiencing something that you need to overcome. So let's say you like a child in the dark and you hear tapping around your house, right? This is why I have come to a realization. This is why I say this. Just like how when I say you can know a piece of information is true but not know why it's true. You have to know why not to fear something. Don't just think it's like if somebody told you don't fear the entity, don't fear the evil spirit or demon, whatever you want to call it, don't fear it because it can't hurt you. That's not enough. What will make you come to a realization is when you tell them something like, because this is all true what I'm about to say, to not fear entity. If you are at a high vibration, your aura around your body, which science calls a biofield, which I just explained, is measurable with tuning forks. If your aura is strong enough, you are like an electric lamp, because your aura is it's part of your electromagnetic field, right? So it's like you are an electric lamp, and demons are parasites because they feed off of your light, right? They're parasitic. So just like a parasite that's flying into an electric lamp, if you're at a high vibration, they can't do anything to you because you're vibrating high enough. So most people not learning the right spiritual information, right? We not learning the right information from birth up until, present. because of the school systems and whatnot, and even your parents being programmed and they teaching you bullcrap, right? So listen, coming to a realization, you knowing why you shouldn't fear the entity, because you are more powerful than the entity. You got to explain to your child why, and not just give them like, you tell them why. Now listen, it's just like it's something like when you say, basically it's like you leveling up type, just like I explained. It's like a experience you're supposed to experience, because you can when you moving out of fear, you let more things start to become, they don't make you feel fear. Like you may get in a situation like something you never did before and it's making you feel fear. You don't understand it. You never did it before. And this is where experience comes in. So keeping it moving, we already understand the right and left brain, right? And your left brain has to do with linear thinking. That's your masculine side. That's the positive side that controls the right side of your body. Your right brain is the negative, the feminine, that controls the left side of your body, which is where your heart is. So your left brain has to do with analytics, okay, rationality, all right, logical thinking. So this is a representation of left brain. You just a logical thinker from one point to the other, right? Let me show more examples, because right here you got lateral thinking, where you being creative, you realizing, like, for example, you live in abundance, right? Your natural state is abundance, not just financially, but with everything. So when we talking about from point A to point B, not just physically but mentally, this is you. For example, let's say you had a path you wanted to go. Let's say you wanted to be, let's say, for example, rich. This is just you thinking, okay, this is you right here. This is the point A. Okay, your whole this right here is the whole process of you getting rich. This line is the process of you getting rich, and then this point right here represents you being rich. That's from a linear way of thinking. Now, when we talking about from a non-linear, your path ain't just, you got a creative path. You take many paths. You do things. You meet people. You gain different experience before you become rich. This is just, you can explain this and interpret this many ways. This just got to do with you going a path and you being creative with that path. Creativity has to do with the right brain. Okay, so let's keep it moving here. Now we gonna get into the dimensions. Okay, now when we talking about dimensions, first dimension, this represents the self, the single point, like I just pointed at. The single point is you. All right, the inner focus, self-awareness, being aware of yourself. So that's just you. First dimension, point, linear. The point is you. Okay, the point / position represents you. Linear thinking, from one point, position, or destination to another. Perception of what's near and what's further away. Okay, this level of consciousness is present in rocks, wind, water, minerals, and single-celled organisms. Okay, it's below animal consciousness. All right, so yeah, and it exists on other planets, because other planets got like bacteria, minerals, and whatnot, and rocks, whatnot. Rocks are alive, and I already showed Curlian photography. If you don't understand Curlian photography, it got the aura of, like, everything has an aura because everything is God. That is why everything is God. So everything has an aura coming from it. So 2D, this is outer focus. This has to do with polarity. And as we going through these dimensions, you're going to notice it sounds like the chakras, because inside of you, you have a universe. It's called a microverse, which is a reflection of the macroverse. So as above, so below, as within, so without, right? Which is one of the 7 Hermetic principles. So second dimension, point, position, length, distance, aware of position and line. So distance and length will represent the line, by the way. That line I just showed y'all. Let me see. Right there, the point and the line. So You put it, let's say this is another person right here. That's 2D. But that's or you into another position or to another location. I'm gonna just show y'all in a minute. Right here. This level of conscious is present in plants, trees, some bugs, and lower animal kingdom. Okay? Your shadow is an example of a two-dimensional thing. Animal instinct, food, fight or flight, and reaction slash procreation and sexuality. Okay? If you give too much importance, uh if you living in like your second chakra, or you somebody at this level of consciousness, you give too much importance to probably food sometimes, the animal mind state. You react to emotions, and you react to people sometimes from a low vibrational way. uh you probably a perverted person, you masturbate too much and watch too much porn. So this is why I got procreation and sexuality, because that chakra actually is down there near your sexual organ. So we ain't even got to get too much into that. That got to do with kundalini, sexual energy, and etc. I explained this too much. I means you give too much importance to the five physical senses, especially feelings of satisfactory slash pleasure, okay? And the temporary pleasures at that, aka orgasms or food or entertainment stimuli. You like dopamine. Things bring you dopamine. So you need to go on a dopamine fast. Because if you a person who getting too much dopamine, let's say you stop getting dopamine for, let's say, 3 days, you will react to stimuli from a low vibrational way, because now that you're detoxing, emotions are more sensitive. So when you experience certain emotions, it's gonna be more stronger until your body done detoxing. Now, here's another example of a 2D being, just like off of Adventure Time. This dude that's on the floor, sticking to the floor. He's like a shadow or whatever. Right here, here's a example of a two-dimensional animal, something that's laying on the floor. It stay at the bottom. A starfish, it inhabits the seafloor. It doesn't swim, has no brain, is a predator, eats whatever it comes across, and its ecosystem is governed by its need to feed. Ecosystem governed by its need to feed, right? So this is just like with a human. This is a sedentary human, which means 2D. A sedentary lifestyle is a type of lifestyle involving little or no physical activity. A person living a sedentary lifestyle is often sitting or lying down while engaged in an activity like reading, socializing, watching television, playing video games, or using a mobile phone instead of using your mobile legs slash computer for much of the day. So see, I already told y'all, if you sit down too much, if all you do is sit down, your back become weak, your legs become weak, your erections become weak, because you're not getting blood flow in your legs. So you're not creating anything. Your spirit is also becoming spiritually stagnant. Okay, you're becoming spiritually stagnant. You becoming spiritually dead. And so you become lazy, and walking up and down the stairs become too much of a task for you. You don't want to go throw away your trash. You see he got the food on the floor, right? Look at this. This is a two-dimensional environment. You see trash everywhere. It's a two-dimensional environment. And you likely have a sloth demon attached to you. Because remember, the 7 deadly sins are actually just demons that attack you for you living in certain chakras and you living a certain way, right? Even Mario is a two-dimensional character. Think of a flatlander. We're going to get into flatlanders later in this video. Right here, two-dimensional plant, two-dimensional activity. Remember, it has to do with polarity slash duality, you and other people. So this is when you having static with another person. That's with the animals. This is with the humans. Ricky from Boys in the Hood getting shot in the back. So this is an example of a two-dimensional person in a two-dimensional mindset, in a two-dimensional environment, if I didn't just say that. Now, 3D, which is where we exist, or actually exist a bit above. Most humans actually exist a bit above, because you see people waking up and the earth is actually vibrating higher if you haven't checked the Schumann resonance of the earth. But look, you got third, excuse the density part. This is dimension. So third dimension, point, position, line, height, awareness of self, okay, conscious decisions and belief system, okay, personal power, separation and duality between self versus people, places or things, okay? So this level of consciousness is present in humans, the higher animal kingdom, okay? This level of consciousness also has to do with your ego, okay? We're gonna get into ego. Aware of self as an individual, okay? This also has to do with your personal power or willpower or personal will, whatever. Aware or unaware that you are the creator and unwilling to create a future, right? That's if you unbalance in this chakra, or you when you in this mindset, you just act from a lower nature. This is how you would act, unless you have a strong mental body. That just your mental body has to do with moving, teaching, speaking, learning, working, being optimistic, being spontaneous. When you are like, let's say you don't even have you don't have a lot of energy, and you at this level of consciousness, you don't want to get up and do anything. It's just like with sedentary. But moving on, little awareness or no awareness of the collective consciousness. All is one. So all you think about is yourself, greed, competition, conflict, pessimistic, narcissistic. This also 3D also has to do with free will. I'm gonna get into free will in just a minute. But look at this, ego. Now don't let ego be the driving force behind your actions. Now the reason I put this is because you have to act from compassion. If you act from ego, remember your ego always think is right. So you doing things that you basically based off your belief system. You doing things like, for example, just like with that video I made like 2 videos ago or whatever, you acting off of like emotion, you acting off of, you think that you supposed to be right. Your ego is something that builds its own belief systems and thinks that is right. That is what most people, especially if your mind is on autopilot. You like a robot. You basically programmed by the matrix, basically. But your ego, you want to stop doing things that, for example, let's say you in a situation, your manager pissing you off. Your ego may tell you, some people ego may tell them to hit the person. Some ego may tell them to argue back with the person. Some people ego, or some people higher self would tell them to just quit the job, leave the job, because the environment is toxic. Okay? You're and especially if you feed your ego by doing low vibrational things that it's trying to get you to do. It's not like you gotta make yourself double-minded. Your ego is supposed to be like a tool that you control. You not your ego though. You are your higher self. Your ego is not your higher self. Okay? But keeping it moving. Your higher self would act the driving force behind your actions should be compassion. Your heart records the actions you do and perform with the will that you use to perform them. So if you using your will to perform a low vibrational act, all right, you're basically you acting out of your ego. I'm gonna keep it pushing. Now 4D, this is basically the realm of time. 4th dimension, awareness of point/position, length, width, height, and time, service to self/others. Okay, altruism, selflessness, which means that's a service to others mindset instead of being egotistic. So egoism is you are like a narcissist. You only think about yourself, and you would only help somebody if it was to benefit you. So altruism, see, egoism, when you an egotistic person, that's you at a low vibration. So you not, just like with love don't exist down there. So selflessness don't necessarily exist down there, because you would help somebody just to help yourself. A person who living from the heart, a 4th dimensional perspective, for example, you would do things because you know that people are a reflection of you. People are a reflection of you, and this is why people are able to see themselves inside of other people, because we share a collective consciousness. We are plugged into the same source. So it has to do with polarity. Polarity still exists in the fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is the realm of time and creativity and emotions. Okay, it's a goal-oriented place. It's an astral-like place. Astral place, you use your astral body in that place. It's like a dimensional portal. It's about travel in the fourth dimension. Okay, you get to give what you get. It's about the law of oneness, or realizing and coming to an understanding of the law of one, which I just said we are a collective consciousness. It's the realm of creativity, the unconscious mind, and when you are when your mind is there, okay, because these dimensions are about where your mind is, which is why people say you experience heaven on earth. And when you activate your crown chakra, that is heaven. It's advanced physical abilities, advanced intuition, advanced magic, and dreaming and imagination. Now, the reason I put advanced, okay, is because everybody experiences psychic abilities, your intuition, and dreaming. But when you experience advanced dreaming, you able to remember and interpret your dreams. So right here, you got love. This has to do with the heart chakra. So fourth dimension is love. That's where the astral cord is. Okay, it is the bridge between the physical and the metaphysical. Okay, this is the fourth dimension, is where entities travel who are like just spirits or reptilians. They're interdimensionally traveling. So imagine this 3D realm, right, as a layer. Okay, and underneath this layer is where, this is why you see like ships, just like on Alien versus Predator, but even in real life you see ships. They invisible, but you can see them like moving. They're bending the light. They're bending this light spectrum. So creativity, this is where you go when you astral project. You go from, you can be in the lower fourth dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, advanced imagination, physical, psychic ability. Now I got advanced imagination because people have a hard time visualizing. If you have more advanced, if your consciousness is up here, you living in your heart, because then you would be able to experience love. You in love, you would be able to have more clearer and stronger visualization. Okay, and whatever you can imagine, you are able to create. So connected to intuition and magic, etc. You are magicians. We all can do magic. We all have psychic abilities. We all experience extrasensory perception. We all can learn to strengthen our psychic abilities, especially when healing our DNA. So this is pertaining to the fourth dimension because it has to do with time, right? And repeating patterns. So people ask me about this. Okay, sleep, eat, work, home. That is like your repeating cycle for people who either got a autopilot mindset, or y'all just a regular person. Y'all starting to see cycles and repeating cycles in your life, and you wondering how you stop. It's simple. Switch them around, add new things into your life, take something out, okay? Find new interests and hobbies, okay? Expand your horizon. Because if you just doing the same thing over and over and over, right? Physically, because remember, everything came from the spirit realm. Before things were physical, they came from the spiritual realm. This is if your spirit is acting a certain way, you're gonna act that way physically. Okay? So if you act this way right here in this physical realm, your spirit just might be in a type of what's it called? A limbo. So let's look at the definition of limbo. Okay? A supposed borderland of hell. So in hell, it is like torture. It's like a physical reincarnation when you are a person who is experiencing repeating patterns and it's hard for you to stop. A region which has been believed by many to exist on the borders of hell and to be the appointed abode of those who have not received the grace of Christ while living, and yet have not deserved the punishment of willful and impotent sinners. Okay, right here. uncertain situation that you cannot control, in which there is no progress or improvement. So you keep on experiencing it, right? You keep on experiencing it. But how do you stop? It's just like breaking the cycle. Just breaking the cycle, breaking a cycle like that. You breaking a reincarnation cycle. You breaking a cycle that keep repeating in your family. You got to do something different. Okay? You have to do something different. If let's say, because I believe in epigenetics. If a person is family keep experiencing a disease, I believe a person can stop that disease from spawning in your family again. So what is that person doing? They're doing something different. Especially, let's say, if we can bring it down to graduation. Most of your family, let's say most of your family didn't graduate, and you the only one who got the chance to graduate right now. Graduate. You're doing something different from that. So basically, what I'm saying, you need to do something different. It's that simple. You need to do something different. Change the way you look at life as well. Now we got to get into time, because everybody has been trapped in time, or most people are trapped in time and don't understand time. I explained time in my Saturn video. I broke the illusion. I destroyed it. But look, time is a matrix. The past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. So this is why spiritual people say living in the moment. You have to live in the moment. That's why when you are with somebody hanging out and you having a good time, you're experiencing joy, right? The higher your vibration, the faster time will move. So if you in the moment, right, and you just with that person, you're not thinking about things that happened yesterday or in the past. You're not thinking about your emotional baggage or things you suppress. You're not thinking about what's going to happen in the future. You're not even thinking about you going back home, because you having so much fun, you having such a joyful time, and time is moving faster. So this is why when you with somebody, time be moving fast. You go over their crib and you come out their crib and it's dark. You in their crib in the noon, you came out and it's dark outside. Just little stuff like that. You when you with somebody, time does move faster. When you are asleep, time does move faster, in a sense. You having a different perception on time. If you focus on the past, time is gonna move slow. If you looking at the clock, time gonna move slow. So everything is happening in the moment. Okay, even the past and the future is happening simultaneously in the present. So stop following mass consciousness programming. Okay, and that's basically doing everything that people, the majority do, the masses do, because you know when you follow the masses, you are like a cattle brain. That is a hive-like mindset, okay, and you are able to be programmed with that crowd, just like I'll be explaining when people go to big events like the Super Bowl, for example, and everybody focused on the same thing. Is just like hypnosis. If you focus on something and you give it the ability to control you, or you give it your attention, you buy into it with your spiritual currency, aka your focus and concentration / attention. You buying into it. You giving yourself to it. So you giving it your energy. What you do every day at the same time, yeah, you need to start changing that as well. If you come home and you after work and you go to your room and you smoke a blunt, you probably after that you eat and then smoke a blunt all at the same time. You come home from work, you grab you some food, you grab you a blunt, you pick up your controller to your video game, you probably watch a little TV, and you go to sleep, and then you go to work. You come back home and you do that same exact cycle. You need to be mindful of your actions. It's called being mindful or aware. Mindful or aware. Check this out. Stop looking at the clock, because the clock looks like an eye, right? It looks like it's talking, it's ticking, it's making a sound, right? And this is all hypnosis, my guy. It's hypnosis. It's hypnosis when you staring at a clock. Stop counting the hours. This is why at the end of your shift, you be staring at the clock and time start moving slower. You somewhere you don't want to be, time be moving slower because you paying attention to how much time you got left to be there. You need to raise your vibration and change your perception on the things you are doing. Because if you feel like you don't want to be there, or you feel like the place or whatever you doing is, it don't resonate with you or whatever, just change your perception. Because that's basically how I've been telling y'all this, especially when I go to work. You don't If you don't want to be there, change your perception, or get you a new job that you actually enjoy. Because if you enjoy it, you won't be thinking about, okay, when do I leave? How much time do I got left? How much time I got after break? Oh, I got 2 more hours until the shift off. You paying attention to the time, and the time is moving mad slow because you giving it your attention, your spiritual currency. All right. So no alarm clock. See, let's let go of the need to know how much time you have left. No alarm clock. Your body will start to see. If you ever notice, if you use an alarm clock, right? And I used to do this. Over time, right? You use an alarm clock because that actually disturb your sleep. Like, you disturbing your sleep. That's actually not a good thing to be doing. But I'm gonna get into that in a minute. If you a person who use an alarm clock, over time you gonna start realizing yourself waking up before the alarm actually even go off. That is your natural alarm clock in your body. Now, here's more on time to help y'all get out of illusion. I should have, if only, why did it have to happen? This is you focusing on the past or things that you suppressed. Okay? And when you suppress instead of expressing, okay, you become depressed. Okay? So you holding on to emotional baggage, and it's going into your unconscious, and it's just there, and sometimes it pop up out of nowhere in your brain because you didn't deal with it. Okay? You didn't get it off you. Bring it awareness and then let it go. Alright, this is why I used to say, don't focus or react to your thoughts, because all of them ain't yours. And this is why there's people out here having low vibrational thoughts, and they give attention to these thoughts, right? And they believe these thoughts, or they stay like stuck on these thoughts, and then they become depressed. You got to understand, we share a collective consciousness, so not all thoughts are yours. And not only that, people are under the influence of low vibrational entities around them. So those thoughts could be the thoughts of an entity that's trying to, influence you. And then right here, it got imagining your future. I won't be able to cope. I will never. What's the point? What if? This is you giving yourself anxiety. You are just using, with the past, the unchangeable past, that's just you focusing on memory, or you creating thoughts and you dwelling on them. Dwell don't mean it gotta have already been existing. You can create thoughts and dwell on them, and this is why you get depressed. So with the future, when you just theorizing and making up scenarios, and you imagining things that could happen or may happen, you giving yourself anxiety. So you want to focus on the present moment. And only then will you become happier. Your vibration will go up. Time will move faster. It's just like polarity. You polarizing your mind. You have the past and you got the future. The present is the higher neutral, the higher way. All right. So right here with chronology, we know chronology comes from Kronos, the deity who is called Father Time, who is Satan, who is the God of the Bible, right? Which I explained in my Saturn video. That video go too hard, even though YouTube messed it up and made it lag. But anyway, the arrangement of events or dates in order. So chronological order would mean following the order of numbers, just like you do when you're looking at the clock, right? So an increase in higher vibrational frequencies speeds up experience of time. Convergence of all timelines. So, like, even if you physically, like, if your spirit / soul was to go into these dimensions, time would move faster. So in the fifth dimension, that's about manifestation and things appearing faster. So right now, you may already sometimes experience that down here in this realm, in this dimension, because your consciousness is up there. So things are manifesting faster. You experiencing synchronicity. People saying what you thinking. You hear people say what you think. You see a word somewhere of what you just got done thinking. You got songs repeating stuff you just said in your head, or saying something pertaining to something you said in your head. It's synchronicity. All right. But moving on, you got right here the clock. So with the clock, when you staring at a clock, all right, and you got that number 12. That number 12 is like a repeating cycle. Then you got right here 60 seconds in a minute. 60 minutes. Yeah, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 0 is 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. So that's that 666. Like I said, Father Time is Satan. All right, so you focusing on these. You focusing on. I don't even be knowing what day it is. I don't even be knowing what week sometimes or month. My birthday just passed on the 18th. I didn't even know it was my birthday. So just stuff like that. See, it's a trap. It looks like an eyeball, right? And you just staring into it. So you putting yourself into an optic illusion. Okay, something that deceives the eye by appearing to be other than it is. Okay, so an optical illusion is illusion caused by the visual system. Okay, and characterized by a visual percept that arguably appears to differ from reality. So you give it your currency and you buy into it, right? You give it your energy, your emotion. Your concentration, your focus, your attention, and then you start experiencing the illusion of it. So this is why people, when they get in hypnotized, right? Just like when you look at the father clock, the grandfather clock. This is father time, okay? This is a grandfather clock, okay? It got the ticking thing. It got the ticking thing at the bottom, just like when the person is swinging a clock, a little pocket watch to hypnotize you, and then you got the clock ticking, and then you following this thing, and you just getting into like an illusion, which is slowing down time. Same with the tree. This is why Satan and Santa is interchangeable. They look alike. They got the white beard, okay? Yeah, it's Father Time. This is him. This is Father Time on his sleigh. Okay. Moving on here. So it's the same thing. You got the Newton balls / the pendulum, or pendulum, or whatever it's called. And you got the pocket watch. So all you got to do is get somebody attention and focus to hypnotize them, just like when they do at the Super Bowls. And they give them an image that they all focus on, right? Because we a collective consciousness, and then we all fall under the same illusion. Okay? Now look. That science is the same. That's metaphysical science in a way. So that same science is what's being used when a bunch of people are focused on something, and they want to change something. Let's say it's mass meditation. Everybody focused on the same thing. They meditate on the same thing, and they change that with the collective consciousness. And it's been scientifically proven that you don't even have to have the whole world meditate. If, let's say, at least 1,000 people meditated together, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, that group of people, if they meditated, that would change the collective consciousness of the entire planet. Okay? So time doesn't exist until you give it attention. Whether you trying to think about it or not, you live in the moment. Live in the moment. Right here. You got the 5th dimension. Okay, this is awareness of the point / position. The line, the width, the height, the time is fluid. Okay, time is fluid in the 5th dimension, so there is no time. You're not bound by time, and it doesn't react to consciousness in the 5th dimension. Okay, so it's also you aware of spirit, so you transcended time when your mind is in the 5th dimension. Okay, all you got to do, and if you still don't understand, because I know what I'm saying is going to be confusing to a lot of people unless you've been already following this type of information. Look, the 5th dimension is what the Bible calls heaven. So that's why people say heaven is a state of mind. Listen, no limitations, no separation. So no limitations with anything. With yourself, nothing. You're supposed to feel like you can do anything. That's regardless, because you create your reality. Okay? No separation. That's you understanding that all is one and we share a collective consciousness with everybody. You understand that concept. Okay, if you don't know about that, learn about the laws of the universe. Okay, things manifest faster because that's the realm of manifestation and love. Okay, realm of unconditional love and forgiveness. See, it's a no lower judgment. And if you don't know what lower judgment is, let's say you see a picture of somebody and you like, this person ugly, this person got a big nose. Instead, you supposed to be looking for the beauty in things. All right, you don't, because for example, why are you judging the way they look? They're not trying to date you. And we can go deeper than that. Do you date people based on their looks? I mean, do you give look? I mean, of course you like a pretty face. Everybody like a pretty face, a nice face. But for this, just an example. Do you date people based off their looks? Explain to me, how does looks advance a relationship? Okay, there are cute people who are very toxic. And there is a quote I grew up hearing. Just because it looks good to you don't mean it's good for you. Keeping it pushing. Fear does not exist in the fifth dimension. So as Earth is ascending, we are going to the fifth dimension / fourth density. We in third density right now. So we going into fourth density. Now what's happening here is our body is going from carbon 12, if I'm not, it's carbon 12 or carbon 14. Carbon 12. It's going from carbon 12 to carbon 7, which is crystalline. So your body is coming from a crystalline base. It's coming from a carbon base to a crystalline base due to the radiations that's coming from the sun. So the mass of the planet's mind is going to be up here. It's going to be higher. That's what's going to happen. And so how you are perceiving the world, since that's the realm of creation, the way you perceive the world is how the world is going to be. So since the earth itself is a living, breathing organism and it's ascending, and we're ascending with it, and we create our own realities up there, what you believe is what you will perceive. Okay, so you going up there to create new ways of thinking. So this is up there, it's all about unity consciousness / sense of interconnectedness with all things, plants, minerals, bugs, humans, etc. And that's just like with telekinesis. You gotta understand the connectedness. You gotta understand the 7 hermetic principles. You gotta understand these concepts, because you are literally a fragment of the source, and the source is everything. So you are literally everything. You just dense right now, so you have a physical avatar. But you do not have to identify with your avatar, because you are a spirit with a soul inside of a physical body. So this is just the avatar. After this avatar, if you die, you still live on. Okay? And you can, so you can even inhabit other people's avatar, but that's learning like astral projection and whatnot, and walk-ins and stuff. But mind, body, soul alignment. So, and that's another thing, like I used to say about getting up and doing stuff when you think about it, when you feel like it, that's aligning your mind, body, and soul. If your mind ain't aligned with your body when you feel like doing something, and you telling yourself to do it, and you don't get up, like let's say you had an important task to do, you gotta do it, that's the mind, but your body don't feel like getting up, there is something going on. Okay, there is something going on. So if you keep doing that, that ties into manifestation. You manifesting a lazy life, a lazier life. So the more you don't get up, the more you be lazy, the lazier you're gonna become, because you're sedentary. But anyway, let's keep it pushing. 5D. This is what religion calls heaven. There's no fears, unconditional love, emotions ruled by compassion and higher judgment. So beliefs are just there, meaning things are not good or bad up there, they just are. You don't look at lower vibration, it's just about vibration. That's, again, everything is energy. Okay, everything just exists. We still gonna be on Earth. Okay, Earth still gonna be here, it's just a different version of Earth, and everybody is mentally different. So this is what this whole video, what I'm explaining to you, is what the rapture in the Bible is supposed to be. So I'm explaining to y'all, for people who are new or only understand Bible concepts, this video is explaining the process on how to ascend and make the rapture. Okay, so keeping it pushing. Gratitude, that's like saying being thankful. Okay, or practicing hoponopono. Like I used to tell y'all, that's a Hawaiian practice that's is basically mantras, and you say to the universe or even your higher self, but the universe, thank you, uh, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. If you did something, let's say you went off your spiritual path or you did something negative, and I quote negative, because you don't gotta label things negative or positive. Everything is just low vibration and high vibration. And you don't even gotta say that. You just looking at it as energy because it just is. Okay? Everything just is. There is low vibrational things up there in the fifth dimension. But we ain't gonna get into that. You living in the present moment, okay? You understand that everything manifests faster in the present moment. So you don't have anxiety or depression when your mind is in the fifth dimension. Observe happiness, Christ consciousness, light body. Now I have observed happiness because you need to observe what it feels like to be happy when you are actually genuinely happy. Okay? So that you know what that actually is. You got to pay attention and bring awareness to your emotions. Spiritually based. The fifth dimension is spiritually based, but you got a lot of people in this third dimensional mindset who, when they hear spiritual knowledge, they get turned off or they don't want to talk about it. Okay, perfection. This is the realm of perfection. Christ consciousness is you being enlightened. This your light body. That's what I just explained about your body going from carbon 12 to carbon 7. Peace, group consciousness. It's about, I don't want to keep saying universalism because that actually has a religious concept. So I'm going to just say like oneness or connectedness and altruism and selflessness. Everybody work for each other instead of for money. People do tasks for each other instead of using money. A currency that was made to put us in a trap, an illusion. Because when you have money, right? This is the thing about money. Money is a physical currency, not a spiritual currency. So if you're a person who is materialistic and you attach to physical things, if you losing money or you spending money, you're going to feel like you losing energy as you keep spending money. And when you actually spend all of it and you have nothing, you're going to feel low on energy. You're going to feel depressed. When in reality, like I said before, people who know how to get money, if they went broke, they would not mind going broke because they know how to get that money. If you lost your job, if you lost your business and you went bankrupt, you have the mind, okay? You have the mental capacity to know how to get out of that situation, to know how to make that money back. Okay? So you have longer lifespans, all right? You have longer lifespans. Everything is about light and energy, okay? Co-creation, so creating with others. It's about music and manifestation. Some people have a hard time holding the 5D vibrations because they still under lower vibrational influences. They still carry traits of a person who in their root chakra. So you need to get your chakras right. Psychologically, you need to get yourself right. To do this, you must get into your heart. Okay, go from being okay with the person / situation, then having compassion for that person / situation, and letting go. So, for example, again, if you feel an emotion that's low vibrational, you are a spiritual alchemist. Okay, you can transmute these energies. You can change these energies to anything you want. So that's why I say you don't gotta let nobody govern your internal environment. So if you got a blocked heart, you cleanse it with Ho'oponopono. You can say it to yourself or you can say it to the universe, right? And you just say, thank you, I love you, please forgive me. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. You can say either one of them. You can say, I'm sorry. You can say, thank you. You can say, please forgive me. You can say, I love you, whatever. Or you could choose a mantra yourself or make up your own mantra. You just basically say it to the universe. Now, you got to really say it to the universe like you talking to something. You don't just say it out in the air and just, because if you don't have actual belief in the universe, my nigga, you Come on now. Come on, you're not doing nothing. This is why people say you don't just pray to God, you have to actually ask. You have to actually you have to actually talk as if you're talking to something. Because this why you shouldn't be praying like that. Alright, unless you know what you're doing, because praying, it literally means you becoming prey. So if you praying to a deity for material, right, like I've been explaining for over a year, you are praying to possibly an aspect of Satan, okay? Like that deity God, G-A-D, who is really an aspect of the God in the Bible. G-A-D is a God of material, fortune, and luck. The God in the Bible is the God of material. Satan, Set, is the God of material. So when you praying to something outside of yourself and you don't understand that we speak a cursed language that's not our native tongue, aka English, which has a bunch of words from different languages put together, making different prefixes and suffixes from different languages to create a word in this language. So this is why we the English language is comprised of German, Greek, Rome, and Latin. Okay, and sometimes different languages like Spanish, but just let's keep it pushing. You change your perception on life. Okay, you got to change your perception on everything. Okay, you basically relearning life to an extent. You basically go back to that 0 point and learn how to look at things from a perspective that isn't in a perspective that would bother you, for example. Okay, even with life, you got to change your perception on what you think life is. Just like what do you see, how do you imagine yourself? Because if you don't have even a perception of yourself, what exactly are you? What exactly are you? I imagine myself as a god. So if you have an image of yourself as something, over time you're going to become that. All right. So chemtrail, the reason I got chemtrails right here is because chemtrails, the chemicals from the chemtrails can actually hinder you or bother your body, or even for some people make them sick. We breathing in thousands of chemicals every day, okay? And I kind of believe contrails ain't even good, because those, when you are all these exhausts from the cars and the planes is actually contributing to climate change, but we're gonna keep it pushing. GMO foods, which actually alter your DNA, okay? And if it's like the process, because not all GMO foods are bad. It's just some GMO foods, like corn, for example, which came out thousands and thousands of years ago, is actually man-made. By man-made, it means it was mixed. They either planted the seeds with other seeds or somehow spliced them with another plant. Okay, so sometimes when we talking about genetically modified food, some of these genetically modified foods ain't nothing but just actual food that's just been breeded with another food, for example. But for the most part, it's processed, already programmed for you, nasty food. Okay, which messes with your psyche, because your pineal gland actually translates food. Okay, so your food is information. All right, this is why they got people eating fruit candies instead of actual fruit. You got people, buying. They eat. They don't realize the food that they eat now, that they've been growing up eating, is actually stretching their stomach out. Your stomach supposed to be about the size of a fist. So when you go vegan, for example, from meat, you gonna feel unsatisfied and not full oftentimes, because your stomach has been stretched out and worn out from the foods you've been eating. You grew up and been programmed to eat. But we gonna keep it pushing. You change your diet. Low vibrational energy / frequencies like 5G, EMF waves. If you're not eating healthy, 5G shouldn't be will be a problem. If you eating healthy and whatnot and you keep your vibration high, 5G shouldn't be a problem. You are electromagnetic, so you should be stronger. Your electric field should be strong enough to handle this. And even because we evolving, we are becoming able to handle different types of frequencies. So your TV, remember what I said about TVs? Those are portals. They're black screens. They're black. And when we talking about TV and the programs that they have on the TV, them are low vibrational programs. So we already know the TV don't matter. Like if you watching televised programs that's broadcasted, yeah, But unless you're just watching something educational or you know how not to be attached to entertainment, it's not bad to watch entertainment, because I see some of y'all saying stuff like that, like, "Oh, I'm not doing this for entertainment," blah blah blah. Uh, it's okay to experience entertainment, my guy. It's about you being attached and you always putting that a part of your schedule. Because if you always looking for entertainment, you are looking for distractions. You looking for distractions. Okay. Anyway, with your light, artificial light, like I said, I don't like putting my phone on my body because I don't like the way it feels. That's why you're not supposed to have your phone on your face when you on the phone, because it's emitting electromagnetic waves. It's emitting microwaves. Artificial light, even with your light bulbs. I'm not saying you gotta stop using light bulbs, but I would recommend candles if you can. Um, Artificial light, you know your melanin absorbs 99% of light. This is why I've talked about this before. About your regular lights in your house, actually it don't feel good to me. I'm not sure about y'all. Sometimes I could have a lamp on in my room, or my, let's say I got a lamp on and I got my foot aimed towards the lamp somehow, right? Like, let's say I'm laying in the bed and wherever the lamp is, I got my foot, the bottom of my foot is like aimed towards it, wherever the lamp is. I'm gonna feel the light being absorbed into my foot. Okay. Now I'm not trying to make people skeptical about their light. If your aura field is weak, or you not giving your attention to the light, I don't think you're gonna absorb that light unless you give your attention to it. That's just how I look at it. But I'm not, listen. If you can stop using lights and using candles, if you can, because often I know a lot of people like to be in the dark in the middle of the day or at night. So and plus that's better for your pineal gland. You able to tap into that dark energy. And dark energy don't mean low vibrational. Dark energy does not mean evil. That's you tapping into creation. You tapping into that mother cosmos energy. You tapping into dark matter. You tapping into your melatonin. You tapping into your pineal gland. Okay, keeping it pushing. So, how to know you're in 5D? If you're not experiencing emotions underneath love, okay, no feelings that's underneath love, okay, and you feel mainly these things, you are at the right vibration or on your way to higher vibrations. So these the emotions you feel, when you feeling low vibrational. These are emotions and feelings you feel when you feeling vibrational. So it's either love or fear. But these are the sub emotions, aka feelings. This is what you feel. So this, you can feel this. You can feel this in you. You can feel, like, for example, when I feel a low vibrational emotion or something, I feel it go to my stomach somewhere. All right, I know y'all feel it when y'all experience, like, let's say something sexual. You gonna feel it down there in your perineum / your root, your sacral chakra. You gonna feel it. You gonna feel something. And if you get turned on and your libido high, you're gonna feel a tingling or a burning sensation down there. When you ejaculate, you're gonna feel the warmth. That's your kundalini energy. That's the most potent energy in your body. That's the energy of creation. Okay, that's that wisdom. Okay, that's that serpent. That's that serpent energy. It's coiled up at the base of your spine. That's why when you ejaculate, your spine sag. It feel weak. You feel weak. It's energy. You're weakening yourself. This is scientifically and spiritually proven to weaken you. So yeah, when you just keep touching yourself to artificial, touching yourself to computerized people on the internet, films on the internet, you're programming yourself to like that. And this is why young men get porn induced erectile dysfunction. That's more prominent in young men. Okay? And some of these people with this, some of these young men with this get flat corpus spongiosums, which is that muscle on the bottom side of our phallus. That part gets flat sometimes. So you gotta stop it with the artificial. You having sex with yourself. You basically doing a virtual cuckold. You watching other people, have sex. So I'm gonna keep it pushing. So right here you got 3D versus 5D emotions according to Marine. Okay, you can pause that and look at that yourself. This is the 5D versus 3D. You know, patience, concern, judgment, anger, disappointment, terror, helplessness, resentment. These are all 3D emotions and feelings that you experience from a 3D mindset. Resentment and frustration and desperation, loss. You know, you feel lost. You feel no you feel no connection to God. You feel no purpose. You feel no love from a source. You have that's also longing, feeling overwhelmed, feeling violated, heart sickness, shame, despair, feeling trapped, depression, anxiety. That's all 3D emotions. You shouldn't be feeling that, right? That you shouldn't be feeling that. It don't make you feel good. So compassion. These are 5D emotions and feelings: compassion and indifference, compassion, polite observation, purposefulness, and steadiness, easy connection to other choices and possibilities. So, for example, let's say you say some was a test. Oh, that relationship ended that way because it was a test. You mean it was a it was a opportunity. It's opportunities, not a test. Opportunities mean you could have picked a different route. So so you got passive purposefulness and courage. Now, just because it say passive don't mean you gotta live like passive. So for example, if somebody came to try to take your life, for example, you're not gonna let them take your life, right? That's just example. So empowerment, acceptance, abundance, stepping into your power and letting go of limiting beliefs, freedom, joy, and playfulness, opening to higher expressions of love, self worth, and acceptance, new possibilities, breaking free of thought forms controlling your life, expression of original intent, and understanding every experience benefits life journeys. So right here, the way you talk to yourself, like I said, talking to yourself, you supposed to talk to yourself. But if you basically not in no crazy way, you post it just like when you working out and you telling yourself to keep going, or you yelling at yourself. You ain't got nobody else there to do it, so you're supposed to do it for yourself. This is also how you get better at talking in front of people. You're supposed to talk to yourself, not have a conversation with yourself, because that's gonna make you look like a crazy person. Now, keeping it pushing. Guilt. This is also this is a sub emotion of fear. So guilt serves no good purpose to you, and that is to make a more guilt serves one good purpose to you, and that is to make a more positive decision next time, just like with fear. So guilt means you feel like you did something bad, or you validating. Let me keep it pushing. You projecting onto others. So what this means is things that you experience. Let's say you are an angry person oftentimes, but you telling somebody else they angry and you showing them anger. Or you basically, when you say somebody do something that really you do, that means you projecting. So you need to be mindful of when you arguing with people and what you telling them. It say let go of pain. Like I said with being aware of certain emotions and letting go. Let go of pain. Let go of that emotional baggage. You can't take emotional baggage to the 5D. You can't bring that low vibrational stuff to the 5D. Don't blame others for their lack of understanding. Now, what I mean by this is, like I said earlier, everybody don't got somebody to tell them the right information. So they act certain ways in the way they've been programmed or the way they program themselves. So if a person, for example, this why I don't I don't insult people who don't know no more, because they gotta learn some from somewhere. You get what I'm saying? They gotta learn something from somewhere if somebody has never told them. Keeping it pushing. Spiritual alchemy. Now this is about transmuting the energy inside your body to whatever energy you want to change it to. Okay? So notice low vibrational thoughts / emotions, but don't dwell on them. Okay? Do not dwell on them. So if you experience low vibrational thoughts, You don't gotta hang on to these things because it's like you hanging on to poison. Is becoming toxic and is eating you, and is basically like spiritually killing you. It's lowering your vibration. So that you can look at that like a health bar to your spirit. Okay, it is emotional baggage, my guy. It's like you putting. I'm gonna show y'all what it look like when you hold emotions. I've showed it before, but you want to be an observer, so you just be aware of why and what and when you feeling these emotions. You get what I'm saying? Like you just give it a, emotional, just like when you're doing certain meditations and emotions rise and you're not supposed to try to stop it. Don't try to stop the emotion. Just let it be. Notice it and then let it go. Get it off you. So just like when I told y'all, I think I explained this breathing exercise where you breathe energy off of you. You when you feel it, just like when you breathing down deep and eventually emotions start to come up, just get it off of you. Push it off you with your breath. All right, you experience the emotion and then you get it off you. Or you just feel and assume that. Let me read the definition of assume so that you understand trusting and knowing. The definition of assume is to suppose to be the case without proof. Okay, so that's the difference between trusting and knowing, right? If you trust, that's you having faith in something you have no belief in, right? That just like the definition of assume. But the difference with assume, trusting and knowing is the sun is going to come up within the next day, right? You know the sun is going to come up the next morning. Okay, that's basically knowing. But trusting, you don't trust that the sun is going to come up. You know the sun is going to come up. So you have to know things. You get what I'm saying? You have to know. That's crown chakra. That's heavenly, if you get what I'm saying. So I don't trust that this vibration is making me feel, this thing is making me. I know it's not. I know it's not making me feel low vibration. I know I'm a high vibrational person. I know I'm a God. I know I'm living in the 5D. I know. I don't trust. I know, because if you trust that, it feel like you depending on something that you don't know if it got your best interest, or you don't know if it's gonna come through for you. But when you know that, you know. So it's less resistance equals joy/peace, internal conflict. So what I put internal conflict here because all of us inside ourselves are fighting off our lower selves from doing stuff that we don't need to do, that don't benefit us. So we stop ourselves from doing, like, it could even go down to food. You know you're not supposed to be eating food with soy and high fructose corn syrup, but you want to do it anyway. But you know your health, that's lower self, right? You attach to that food. You can't even stop yourself. That's lower self. That's third chakra. That's lower self. So if you your higher self, you're gonna be like, nah, I'm eating healthy. I don't want to eat that food. I know soy be genetically modified. I know high fructose corn syrup hardens and shrinks my pineal gland and calcifies it. I don't need that in my body. I want to be smart and I want to be clear minded. You get what I'm saying? I don't want my stomach hurting from soy, etc. You get what I'm saying? So internal conflict, that can even go as far as your actions, how you treat others. I don't want to argue. I'm going to just give the person compassion. Your higher self is the part of you that want to give the person compassion. Your lower self is the person that want to argue. But again, don't make yourself a double-minded person, because that ties into polarizing your mind. Hold up. Living in the present, emotions must be felt to be cleared. Exactly. So experience and examine that emotion again, and then let it off. Let it go. Just feel, like with the word assume, like I said, right? When you feel emotion, just feel it. Just let it go. Let it go and feel it come off you. And you assume it to be true. Okay? You assume it to be, assuming something to be true, right? Just like how you want to manifest. You sent off a thought to the universe. I don't even need to get into that. Let's go. Right here, polarizing the mind. Focusing on the past to reevaluate or evaluate the future or present keeps you trapped in the 3D time. So just like when I was talking about you focusing on the past, if you focusing and dwelling on something, okay, to try to change what's happening now, okay, or you think that the past, just you don't gotta hang on to. Let's say you did something you know you shouldn't have did, but now you feel like you gonna be punished by the universe and stuff like that. I mean, that may happen, but you're not supposed to be focused on the outcomes. But what's really going on here is you don't action you did. You don't just forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Because if you a person who did something you knew you shouldn't have did, it's gonna eat you up. For some people do things and they eat them up later on, and they can't stop thinking about it. You got to forgive yourself as well. You don't just forgive other people, and also you don't gotta expect apologies from other people. Even if you forgiving somebody, you don't gotta keep being their friend. You can keep it pushing. But anyway, you see beauty in everything. Okay. See the beauty in everything. Free will, that's also polarizing, because with free will you choose any path you want. If you transcend free will, you are a person on a righteous path. Okay, you are a person on a righteous path. You don't have two paths and no in between. Okay, so I mean, if basically the higher path, that's 5D, and knowing there is no good or bad, but you mainly going towards positive. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Let me show you. Claim no more karma. People think that you can't get rid of karma. To get rid of karma, you have to stop doing things that's low vibrational, or things that's going to bring you karma. That is how you get out of karma. So I posted this on Instagram. To free the self from karma, one must learn to live righteously, or live from a higher, like a higher perspective of life. Karma polarizes the mind. Do not spend your life determining whether the action you performed was good or bad, okay? Whether it was good or bad, because you're polarizing your mind. You think you dwelling on it, you wondering if it was good or bad, and even if it was bad, you still got to keep it pushing, whether it was good or bad or not. So instead, do everything with good intent. That way you don't have to worry about karma coming back to you, because if you're doing bad stuff, and I quote bad or negative, you're going to keep experiencing bad karma. So when you a person who have experienced bad karma and you change your life and you start doing good things for people, you shedding off karma. You're shedding off karma. So instead, do everything with good intent. This doesn't mean live passively. Karma doesn't exist when you're living in 5D. You don't have nothing to pay for when you in 5D. So that's the love. That's the realm of love. That's the mindset where love exists. So oneness. Again, oneness. We share a collective consciousness. So I ain't even got to get into that right now. Right here, this is densities. Densities is not dimensions. So let me show y'all densities. We've lived in these densities before. So first, second, third, we had to be these life forms before we became a human. Now we are going right here to the fourth density, which is a fifth dimensional density. So this is where the molecules in our bodies start to more like separate because of the radiations that's coming from the sun. And around December 21st, we are going to get a flood of energy. So this is why I don't necessarily believe during the pole shift is going to be a flood of water. I think it's going to be a wave of cosmic energy. And we already know it's going to be a bunch of cosmic energy coming from the sky around December 21st. So keeping it pushing, this is where we're going right here. The fourth density, which is in the fifth dimension. We are right here or slightly above. We're going here. Okay? So right here, you got a higher self exercise you can do if you want to. I got this out that book. It says to do this exercise, right? You do it for 45 days minimum. Okay? You ask your higher self questions. Now you ask unimportant questions because this is making it easy. This is so it's easier for you to get answers from your higher self, right? Especially if you haven't before. Okay? Start with heart-centered meditation. and ask higher self for symbols of signals, symbols or signals that indicate yes or no. So you want to ask yes or no questions because that's easier for your higher self to answer. So you want to do this 30 to 50 times a day. You don't necessarily got to count, just make it a lifestyle. Just like what I be saying about no fap, you don't got to count the days, just make it a lifestyle, or it's going to be feeling like you holding on to baggage and you're going to end up exploding eventually. So just like with your emotions, you hold on to emotions and eventually one day you're going to go off on somebody. But anyway, let's keep it pushing. Only yes or no questions. Always follow through with the answer. Don't ask important questions. Don't ask predictive questions, which is ego based, meaning like just like in the book it said, example what the book gave is this light gonna turn red, etc. Just y'all get the gist. No form of divination. That means she basically said don't practice things like rituals and whatnot. I'm not gonna say don't practice no rituals. I mean that's you, but yeah, this is the exercise. You ask yourself yes or no questions 30 to 50 times a day. This is what I used to talk about when I was talking about your higher self be asking yourself questions. Some people have that connectedness. Some people get the answers. Some people notice the answers already. So one thing she said about this exercise though is don't already think that you have a good connection. Okay, because that's gonna be like ego and you gonna already think you making faster progress. But personally, I think people are gonna notice a connection before 45 days because I already been doing this since 2017. I've been studying the subconscious. So right here, right? Hold up, give me a second. Okay. Now, before I keep it pushing, right? Oh yeah. So remember what I said about sleep, right? Back then. I ain't gonna say nothing yet. Right here, I got get rest. Rest becomes deeper. So right now, everybody, you may have been waking up and experiencing, you probably feel fatigue or like you want to go back to sleep because your sleep has been deeper. You probably been having more vivid dreams. All right, these just symptoms of us ascending into the 5D, and y'all feeling like stomach problems, and you hearing ringing in your ear, you seeing things in the corner of your eye. This is because we're transcending into a less physical realm. Okay, your body changing, your sight changing, your senses changing, your whole being is changing. Okay, so dreams are going to become more vivid, and it's going to be harder to wake up because you are connecting to higher dimensions as we sleeping. The dimensions are intermerging. They're nested in each other, but now they're intermerging right now because we're transcending. We're going into a new dimension. So being woken up by external sources disturbs your transition into higher dimensional energies. Sleep is time away from the physical body. Okay? Again, sleep is time away from the physical body. All right? So you are in higher dimensions. Now, from what I've been reading and hearing, I may have been wrong lately or partially right, but your higher self is in the 6th dimension. And when you dream, you go to the 6th dimension. I think it depends on where your consciousness is, but I'm going to go with that. Keeping it pushing. Not enough sleep keeps you out of 5D. So that's why you got to get enough sleep. Really, science and my own experience, humans should have 8 to 10 hours of sleep. All right, and I think because I used to normally wake up naturally at 8 hours. Used to. Now it's just like sometimes 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. It's barely 8 oftentimes. But anyway, keep it pushing because I can survive off of little sleep. But that's not always a good thing. You need that sleep for your mental and your body. And look, the way you sleep, eating before bed, right? You're not supposed to eat before bed because your body, your subconscious focus on all the energy is being used by your brain when you sleep. So your subconscious, your mind, it gotta focus on sending signals to your body to digest that food. So and you laying down, so it's not digesting correctly. So you're gonna wake up Especially if you ate something spicy, you're gonna feel all messed up in your stomach. But the reason I got the way you sleep right here, right, is remember what I said about you sleeping in fetal position. You shouldn't be sleeping in fetal position. Really, you should be sleeping on a flat surface like a pellet on the floor, right? And if you want to, if you got like a wooden floor or granite or some type of rock floor, sleep with one hand on touching the floor, right? So you can connect with nature, because the floor is still made out of things that came out of nature. Now, remember, when you sleep a certain way, okay? When you sleep certain ways, you have like your body, like they like contracted, your muscles are contracted. So let's say you sleep in fetal position, or you got your arm bent, you got your shoulder some weird type of way, you got your neck turned some type of way. When you wake up, you're gonna be sore, right? Even bodybuilders tell you this, you want to sleep with a straight body, right? So this is so energy and oxygen and blood can flow throughout your muscle fibers, throughout your whole body. So when you just got energy trapped in certain areas in your body, these are the emotions you experience. You may wake up feeling like these. Okay, that's why you wake up feeling different emotions. But most humans are not emotionally intelligent, so they don't really know what emotions they feel. They just go off of instinct. You want to become emotionally intelligent. Your brain and heart send signals to each other. It's electrical signals. We are electric. Through the heart and brain communicate in different ways, but we're gonna keep it pushing right here. When you sleep, you getting that oxygen, and you letting that kinetic energy flow throughout your muscles when your body's straight. If you like in the fetal position, your abs kind of clench. You're not clenching it like squeezing it, but it's basically contracted in a sense. So it's like the energy and oxygen ain't got nowhere to go. It's not traveling, so it's just going in your stomach. You got your arms bent while you sleep. The energy ain't flowing through your arms. So this why when you wake up, you gotta stretch. You gotta do a big old stretch and a yawn. You getting a big old breath out with that yawn, and that's oxygen, right? So it's electricity. So this why when people get electrocuted, they push themselves off of whatever it is. They not getting blown off, like when people touch an electric fence or electric pole, right? The way they get pushed off is they muscles retract, and it pushes their body off. So humans actually got supernatural super strength. And so this is the same with martial artists. This is why when you see people like Bruce Lee and they hit something hard and they be like, whoa, and they be shaking, they are using kinetic energy. Everybody got that kinetic energy. Have you ever felt like you can charge up a punch actually in real life? Or you feel energy go through your arm when you work out? If you ain't got no energy, you ain't gonna be able to keep lifting. You can be you can be mad big. If you ain't got no energy, you ain't gonna be able to lift, right? So it's that energy, that's kinetic energy. So you gotta learn dynamic stretching and whatnot. And another thing is you want to pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams, yeah, you getting information and whatnot from your dreams when you go to sleep. So let's look at this real quick though. Let's look at how the brain works. We're gonna look at perceiving, how you perceive life and reality in different ways with the way that your brain works. So let's look at this real quick. My stuff been, let me see. It been moving slow lately. Over here, the signal been tweaking. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Behind the scenes from a brain. Matter of fact, with all the dimensional talk that I put right here, right? I ain't even gonna use this one. Hold up. Yeah, I ain't gonna use this one. We gonna use these three. Now pay attention right quick. I'm only gonna show 5 of these.
We start with a point. Like the point we know from geometry, it has no size, no dimension. It's just an imaginary idea that indicates a position in a system. A second point, then, can be used to indicate a different position. But it too is of indeterminate size. To create the first dimension, all we need is a line joining any 2 points. A first-dimensional object has length only, no width or depth. If we now take our first-dimensional line and draw a second line crossing the first, we've entered the second dimension. The object we're representing now has a length and a width, but no depth. To help us with imagining the higher dimensions, we're going to represent our second-dimensional object as being created using a second line, which branches off from the first. Now let's imagine a race of two-dimensional creatures called flatlanders. What would it be like to be a flatlander living in their two-dimensional world? A two-dimensional...
Pay attention to what he's about to say about these flatlanders, because this is the consciousness of a person who think that the whole earth is flat.
Creature would have only length and width, as if they were the royalty on an impossibly flat playing card.
It's also just like Mario.
Picture this. A flatlander couldn't possibly have a digestive tract because the pipe from their mouth to their bottom would divide them into two pieces. And a flatlander trying to view our three-dimensional world would only be able to perceive shapes in two-dimensional cross-sections. A balloon, for instance, would start as a tiny dot, become a hollow circle which inexplicably grows to a certain size, then shrinks back to a dot before popping out of existence. And we three-dimensional human beings would seem very strange indeed to a flatlander. Imagining the third dimension is the easiest for us, because every moment of our lives, that's what we're in. A three-dimensional object has length, width, and height. But here's another way to describe the third dimension. If we imagine an ant walking across a newspaper which is lying on a table, we can pretend that the ant is a flatlander, walking along on a flat two-dimensional newspaper world. If that paper is now folded in the middle, we create a way for our flatlander ant to magically disappear from one position in his two-dimensional world and be instantly transported to another. We can imagine that we did this by taking a...
Now you see how that's supposed to be like a two-dimensional entity. And you see how I got to the other side of the paper, right? Now just pay attention. Check this out.
Two-dimensional object and folding it through the dimension above, which is our third dimension. Once again, it'll be more convenient for us as we imagine the higher dimensions if we can think of the third dimension in this way. The third dimension is what you fold through to jump from one point to another in the dimension below. The first three dimensions can be described with these words: length, width, and depth. What word can we assign to the fourth dimension? One answer would be duration. If we think of ourselves as we were 1 minute ago, and then imagine ourselves as we are at this moment, the line we could draw from the 1 minute ago version to the right now version would be a line in the fourth dimension. If you were to see your body in the fourth dimension, you'd be like a long undulating snake, with your embryonic self at one end and your deceased
You know why?
self at the other.
Because you're moving through time. Fourth dimension is time, so that's why when you get in the fifth dimension, things manifest faster, so it don't look like that. But everything is, it's about travel when you in the fourth dimension. So time travel, traveling through space. Now here's another thing. Just like how I used to say, every movement you make, every position you turn your head, you are looking at, life is like a bunch of different, it's like you looking at a, what's it called, a film strip. And you know, it got a bunch of, you know, movements from the film or flicks, right? You just seeing different timelines. These are all timelines as well. So, but you seeing different, you know, different movements. You can, it's just that we in the third dimension, so it's dense. So we basically underneath the realm of time. But keeping it pushing.
But because we live from moment to moment in the third dimension, we're like our second-dimensional flatlanders. Just like that flatlander who can only see two-dimensional cross-sections of objects from the dimension above, we, as three-dimensional creatures, can only see three-dimensional cross-sections of our fourth-dimensional self.
The reason I'm showing this is to give another perspective and explanation on dimensions. So what I'm showing this as well for is so you can use the information I gave previously before this video and apply that or find the similarities in what he's saying and what I said.
One of the most intriguing aspects.
Also, I'll be leaving the link to this presentation in the description. Okay? And no, niggas cannot edit my presentations. We not doing that. We not doing that.
Aspects of there being one dimension stacked on another is that down here in the dimensions below, we can be unaware of our motion in the dimensions above. Here's a simple example. If we make a Mobius strip, take a long strip of paper, add one twist to it, and tape the ends together, and draw a line down the length of it, our line will eventually...
So watch how this flatlander or whatever go to the other side of this paper.
be on both sides of the paper before it meets back with itself. It appears, somewhat amazingly, that the strip has only one side, so it must be a representation of a two-dimensional object. And this means that a two-dimensional flatlander, traveling down the line we just drew, would end up back where they...
Okay, you see this right here, right? This is his path, right? Check this out.
Started without ever feeling like they had left the second dimension. In reality, they would be looping and twisting in the third dimension, even though to them it felt like they were traveling.
So check this out. Let's say you are a flatlander, right? Let's watch this. Look at my cursor. You are on the inside, right? You traveling around the inside. Okay, hold up. No, I did that wrong. You on the outside right here, right? You travel along, you know, then you boom. It's like Hot Wheels. Look at the marker.
In a straight line. The fourth dimension.
That
time,
was the only way.
But to them it felt like they were traveling in a straight line.
They got on the other
and
side
twisting
of
in
the
the
paper.
third. Traveling down the line we just drew would end up back where they started without ever feeling like they had left the second dimension. In reality, they would be looping and twisting in the third dimension, even though to them it felt like they were traveling in a straight
like Hot
line.
Wheels. So they was on the inside and they flatlanders, but they got on the other side because of that opening. So they basically saying that's how 3D is when you this is also why I said the dimensions are nested inside of each other. This is why the first dimension, the second dimension are inside of the third dimension. And the fourth dimension is perceivable from the third dimension. So you can perceive the fourth dimension while existing. You can perceive the fourth dimension while existing in the third dimension. Okay?
The fourth dimension, time, feels like a straight line to us, moving from the past to the future. But that straight line in the fourth dimension is, like the Mobius strip, actually twisting and turning in the dimension above.
You hear that? It's actually twisting, okay, and turning like the dimension above. So you're traveling through this. You're traveling through this. It just don't look like this. It don't look like a clock with numbers. Where we at?
So the long undulating snake that is us will feel like it is moving in a straight line in the fourth dimension, but there will actually be, in the fifth dimension, a multitude of paths that we could branch to at any given moment. Those branches will be influenced by our own choice, chance, and the actions of others. Quantum physics tells us that the subatomic particle...
So, basically, fourth dimension is not really a place where you want to make it a stopping point, but you can go there. You go from third dimension to fifth dimension, not third to fourth. Fourth is just our traveling. You know, that's like a portal. That's our way to the fifth dimension. Okay, remember the fourth dimension is half physical, half metaphysical. So it's a mix of physical and non-physical. So right here, this is like a cylinder. Imagine this thing right here as a cylinder, and it also spirals, and you travel through it mentally, and you can travel through it I ain't gonna say physically, but with your astral body. Okay.
That make up our world are collapsed from waves of probability.
So this is basically what you doing when you thinking backwards to the past, and you thinking like, oh, that happened, oh, that happened. Oh, I wish that didn't happen. Oh, but that's going to make things, you know, you're gonna use the past to try to reevaluate the future or the present. And you're gonna think that your past situations define you or your next, your next moves and whatnot. It's not like that.
Abilities simply by the act of observation. In the picture we are drawing for ourselves here, we can...
Okay, you see how he said the act of observation. You see he looking at something, right? And basically, like I said, how you perceive things, if you believe it, you will achieve it. So basically, the way you think the world the way you think the world look is how it's going to look. Which is why if you're a person who in a fifth dimensional consciousness, Earth and life, the colors look brighter. Look at this. He is going to explain the two slit experiment or double slit experiment. You can look this up. There's animated explanations, but listen to this.
I'm going to explain to you what's known as the central mystery of quantum mechanics. It was Richard Feynman, the American physicist, said, this is the central mystery of quantum mechanics. There's lots of weird stuff that goes on in the quantum world. Hit you with this, and it basically tells you what it's all about. It's called the two-slit experiment. I'll start with this. Imagine you have a source of light shining against a screen with two slits.
Right? Now look at this. You heard what he said. Imagine you got a light with two, shine. Basically, look. Okay? Now this is your brain. I want you to pay attention to this and use this model in your brain. Okay? Excuse me. You remember this and picture this model with what he's saying. Parallel it, because right here, this is where you be having the picture in the back of your mind, right? And your veins and arteries. The red one is the artery. The blue one is the vein. Your veins bring blood and whatnot to your it brings in blood to your heart, and your arteries bring blood out, or vice versa, whatever. Right here, you got the thalamus. Right here will be where the pituitary gland be at. Then you got your eyes. So your eyes is like a projector or a camera. So the light come into your eyes, and then it turn upside down when it hits your retina, and then it turn back right side up when it come back here into your cerebral cortex. So this where the picture be, but the light is transmuted or transported through these. And so this right here, the axon, this is where the electricity travel through. So these your nerves right here. The electricity actually travel through these, and these act as highways. So as you can see, it's like a machine with electrical cords in them, okay, and plug-ins. You see what I'm saying? This is why humans are the real technology. But keep this model in mind when he explaining what he explaining.
Now, for the pedants in the audience, this source of...
Matter of fact, that's why I have this right here. Excuse me.
Vision is the dominant sense for most people with sight. The organ of sight is the eye. Think of it as a slightly irregular, hollow sphere that takes in light and translates it into images. If we enlarge the eye and look inside it, we can discover how that's done. Inside the eye are various structures working together to create an image the brain can understand.
That's right.
Among these are the cornea, a clear dome-like structure covering the iris or colored.
So we already know the eyeballs are like are like a camera. You're able to focus in everything just like a camera lens. If you understand how your eyes work, like I've been explaining, and you ever use cameras, or you know how to use cameras, it acts just like the human eye. Keep it pushing.
Part of the eye, the lens directly below it, and the retina, which lines the back of the eye. The retina consists of thin layers of light-sensitive tissue. This candle can help us understand how the eye captures images and then sends them to the brain. First, the candlelight passes through the cornea. As it does, it's bent or refracted.
And this is part of the science. This is only part of the science of sun gazing. All right. When you absorb light, you know light contains photons. Photons contain information. So light contains information. This is my favorite quote. Light equals information. So you know you getting smarter, and you absorbing information from the cosmos when you sun gazing, and you know your pineal gland is literally synonymous to a black hole. Okay, so it's also absorbing the light. Okay, and it's transmuting it. Okay, pay attention, because this light also goes in your sperm. You know your sperm / semen is distributed by your brain, and it's called cerebral spinal fluid. Okay, that is your semen, and it's produced by the brain. Okay,
Onto the lens. As the light passes through the lens, it's bent a second time. Finally, it arrives at the retina, where an image is formed.
so you see this right here, right? Items or objects are upside down when they get right here.
Formed. This double bending, though, has reversed the image and turned it upside down. If that was the end of the story, the world would always appear upside down. Fortunately, the image is turned right side up, in the brain. Before that can happen, the image needs to travel as impulses along the optic nerve.
It gotta travel through the optic nerve. Remember, your nerves are like highways for electricity. Okay, / light / energy, and light / energy. Electricity and energy are light. Okay, and this is why electricity for your house is called energy.
And
Your body would not be able to function if you didn't have electricity inside of it. Okay.
enter the brain's occipital lobe. When the image forms there, it regains its proper perspective. Now let's consider two common conditions.
So when we talking about vice versa, how do you perceive the world? Okay, how do you perceive the world? What is that picture in the back of your cerebral cortex that defines the world? Because then it'll travel out your optical nerves and out your eyes, and that's how you're gonna see the world. So I imagine the world like a Garden of Eden type of place. So everything is beautiful to me. I love nature. I be outside in the sun. I be grounding myself barefoot, which is what you should do. So
that cause
unless it's too cold, don't get sick. All right.
Blurry vision. The eye's shape is important for keeping things in focus. With normal vision, light focuses precisely on the retina at a location called the focal point. But what happens if the eye is longer than normal? The longer the eye, the more distance there is between the lens and retina. But the cornea and lens still bend light the same way. That means the focal point will be somewhere in front of the retina rather than on it. This makes it difficult to see things that are far away. A person with a long eye is said to be nearsighted. Glasses with concave lenses can correct nearsightedness. The lens widens the plane of light coming through the cornea. That pushes the focal point back onto the retina. Farsightedness is just the opposite.
All right. Going back.
Of light has to be monochromatic light of a particular wavelength, whereas of course a light bulb is white light, and that's made up of all the colors of the spectrum, lots of different wavelengths. But imagine this is just a single wavelength of light, and you can see the light is coming out in waves like.
So you see this? This is synonymous to your brain. This is the light in the back of your brain, your cerebral cortex, if I'm not mistaken. And then this right here is projecting the light out of your eyes. So these slits would be your eyes, and then right here is the light. So the whole thing about the double slit experiment is things don't take form until you focus on it. You get what I'm saying? This is why when you're not focused on something, everything look blurry. But when you focus on it, it takes shape. So you looking and honing in on light. So light is right in front of your eyes. You don't gotta focus on it, but it's right in front of your eyes. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. Remember how I explained how light is a projection on this planet, and you perceive it based on your belief system. So even though we all living in this life together, we do not experience the same things the same way. So yeah.
Pools in a pond. That's the nature of wave-like behavior. As the light hits the screen, it squeezes through the two slits.
That's also how TVs work. So like with the sun, imagine this as the sun. This the earth. You get me? So it's shining this light, right? This the earth, and then through the electromagnetic field of the earth, the light comes through, and then we see it and we perceive it how we perceive it. Remember this realm, the light, we perceive it in a way where it's like life. It's like a video game. So the light that's projected on the planet and the way we perceive it based off of our belief system, if you think it's negative, if you think you live in a negative life, that's the type of life you're going to experience. You think you live in a dope, peaceful, joyful, loving life, prosperous, abundant life, that's what you're going to, the energy you give out, it grows. So whatever you give energy to, it grows. So it's going to become part of your life eventually.
And each slit in turn on the other side becomes almost like a new source of light. And the light...
If you had a hard time understanding that, again, refer to my Change is Here video, where I explain how life is like a video game and how the sun is like a disc put into the game and it's projected on the screen, aka projected on the earth and onto us. Okay? And even with the moon, Saturn moon light. I explained that in my Saturn video, keeping it pushing.
Spreads out, it diffracts. And as the waves of light overlap, they will interfere with each other. So where a crest hits a trough, they will cancel. Where a crest hits a crest, they will amplify, and so on. And so on the back screen, you end up with what's called an interference pattern, a series of light and dark fringes, where the waves have either cancelled out or worked together in phase. That's fine. That's not quantum mechanics. That's a property of light that goes back...
Exactly, because we only see a certain percentage of the light spectrum.
Over 200 years that we've known about, since the early 19th century. Imagine doing the same experiment again, but doing it not with waves, but with particles. Do it with grains of sand. So this is the same experiment, but I've tipped it 90 degrees. Rather than waves that are spread out that wash up against the two slits and squeeze through, here you've got individual particles of sand, and each particle will either go through one slit or the other. And so you see they will sort of drain through, and you get two bumps underneath each of the slits. So the two peaks is reminiscent of particle-like behavior, whereas the multiple pattern of interference is wave-like behavior. What if we do the same experiment with atoms? Well, so imagine we have an atom gun, something can fire atoms, a stream of atoms. You can't see them because they're very small. Let's block off one of the two slits. So these two slits are the dimensions and separation of the slits is chosen appropriately to show us how atoms do things. And so far so good, nothing strange here. You'll see a lot of atoms hitting the back screen. So this will now have to be some sort of photosensitive screen whereby when an atom hits it, it'll give off a little flash of light to say the atom has arrived here. So the atoms are arriving as these little pinprick.
Your sight, all right? Your sight has arrived there. And then whatever you look at takes form, okay? So what you believe you looking at, a round orange, that's what you're gonna see. You focusing on this low vibrational form of light. Well, I ain't gonna say it's low vibrational because we ascending, but you get what I'm saying.
Light that we see.
because everything is dense here, pretty much.
Of course, a lot of
Oh, and also that's gonna be the same with food. So if your body telling you to fast lately, or you don't feel like eating, don't eat, my guy, because food is really becoming more dense for our body. Our body is becoming less dense.
the atoms will be blocked by the first screen. They won't go through that slit. But those that do get through to the other side, you can see there's a bit of spreading of the atoms. But if we didn't know anything about atoms, you say, well, that's fine, we can understand that. A lot of the atoms are going clean through the slit. Some are sort of maybe bouncing off the edge of the slit, and so they're sort of being deflected a bit, which is why you get a bit of a spread. The first mystery of quantum mechanics comes when we open the second slit. Because now we see something that's...
I'm gonna see if this, here it is. Oh. Let me give y'all an animation if this don't start tweaking.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line.
Okay. Just like the brain.
With the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference.
Now that looked like the tree of life. All right, that looked like the tree of life.
Pattern on
or the flower of life.
The back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing.
Yeah, y'all get it.
So, when we
y'all get it. Now back to this.
We now start to see how each of us are collapsing the indeterminate wave of probable futures contained in the fifth dimension into the fourth dimensional line that we are experiencing as time. What if you wanted to go back into your own childhood and visit yourself? We can imagine folding the fourth dimension through the fifth, jumping back through time and space to get there. But what if you wanted to get to the world where, for example, you had created a great invention as a child that by now had made you famous and rich? We can imagine our fourth dimensional selves branching out from our current moment into the fifth dimension. But no matter where you go from here, the great child inventor timeline is not one of the available options in your current version of time. You can't get there from here, no matter how much choice, chance, and the actions of others become involved. There are only two ways you could get to that world. One would be to travel back in time, somehow trigger the events that cause you to come up.
Interdimensional travel. You know, he basically explained it on a smaller scale how to travel interdimensionally and mentally.
With your invention, then travel forward in the fifth dimension to see one of the possible new.
It's just he explaining it from a more practical, politically correct way. But y'all can go check that video. I'm gonna show that video again in another video also. So my next video. But yeah, look at this. So you know, this is a synonymous way. You know, you got you in the line and another point, which is like you realizing other people. Which this should be first and this should be second. So ignore the zero. And you got second. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. This you, the line, and the person. This. I don't know why this is too. Oh yeah, because it's flat. It's like a flat cube. Then you got this right here, but there's still no such thing as zero dimension. So it's basically the same. This is just from a measurement type of perspective, but it's still synonymous and it ties in. So when you're talking about 3D, you got 3D, and you got 4D. So this is travel. You remember how he said when you move, you're gonna see different U's, but different ages. Is you traveling through time? You see that with the cube and the lines. You see what I'm saying? So already explained trusting and knowing, connecting with nature. Already explained that. I explained how you are also synonymous to nature. Okay, so if you ain't seen my artificial technology video, I went in on how we are nature. We are the real technology. Like we are a reflection of everything. This, to me, that's what relativity comes from. So, I mean, everything can do what we can do, and we can do what everything can do, and we are connected to everything. And so, let me show this video. This is probably the last video. I want y'all to, if you don't understand transcendental meditation, I'm gonna need you to go watch this by David Lynch. Okay, called Transcendental Meditation. I'm gonna show a little something in case y'all want to stick around. You know.
This is a donut.
Where he at? I'm a self-made big rich one. Eat it, leave it. It threw me back in savage mode. If ever being be a grab and go, wouldn't held you down, but you got me looking goofy. Way I see it, I might just snap his koofy. It wanna.
This is a donut. It is very sweet and very good.
Hold up. Let me get in here.
But if you've never tasted a donut, you wouldn't really know how sweet and how good a donut is. If you've never had that experience. Transcendental meditation is like that. Transcendental meditation gives an experience much sweeter than the sweetness of this donut. It gives the experience of the sweetest nectar of life, pure bliss consciousness. As Maharishi says, those who don't know, they don't know. Those who know, they enjoy. I hope this following documentary gives you some good news about the sweetness of life.
Donc, on tourne en fait là, hein, donc tout va bien. So, David, the Maharishi teaching in your life.
Are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Oh, okay, okay.
The Maharishi teaching in your life, how did it all start?
Right.
And we see surfaces, you know, surfaces. Surface. And we see surfaces, you know, surfaces. And about 300 years ago, scientists, they started wondering what was this wood and what was this metal and what was it really? So they start looking into matter. So this side is matter, and this side is mind. Mind and matter. And the scientists, well, they discovered molecules. Deeper they went, and they discovered these atoms. And like I say, they thought that was the smallest particle for a long time. All these things we learn about in school. They went deeper, and they find inside the atoms these little electrons and neutrons and protons. And they went deeper and deeper and deeper, smaller and smaller particles, smaller and smaller particles. They found four forces. On a deeper level, the 4 became 3. And on a deeper level, the 3 became 2. And then, about 30 years ago, modern science, quantum physics, discovered the unified field. The unity of all the particles and all the forces of matter, of creation. Not only did they discover the unified field, but they found that everything that is a thing emerges from this field of no thing. Unmanifest it is. Unmanifest. It is no hyphen thing, but all things come from it. Anything that is a thing has emerged from this field of unity. It's oneness. The scientists know this exists.
So
But if they want
you can go watch that yourself.
to get
Yeah, I gotta stop on 444. You know. But look, yeah, the more relaxed you are, the more deeper your brain waves become, the more peace you experience, the deeper and more clairvoyant you are in your meditations, the closer to the source and your true self you are becoming. Okay? The more bliss and peace and balance you will experience. Okay? You will experience a more stronger connection, loving connection to God, the source. So, last but not least, all right, you know, December 21st, the Great Conjunction, solar solstice, equinox, we already know, like I explained, Jupiter is Christ, Saturn is Satan. This is the Saturn versus Satan, cosmological Saturn versus Satan. You know, this is going to happen on the winter solstice / equinox, which is the first day of winter, which is December 21st, right? And you know, these are two opposing energies, all right? And they're going to be in what? Aquarius. Oftentimes they're in Taurus, but this is Aquarius is gonna be in, right? And you know, these are two opposing energies in a sense. And we know Saturn has to do with bounds, restrictions, limitations, and stuff like that. Jupiter is about like fortune, you know, success, luck, in business or a task or, you know, an occupation or a joy or whatever it is. Right here, right? It says the Great Conjunction U.S. Oh yeah, and by the way, on the equinox, that's the time where people are able to see the center of the galaxy in the sky. But right here, it says the Great Conjunction. All right, I'm gonna make this bigger so y'all can see this. Hold up, let me get this out of here. Y'all need to see this. Come on. Out of here. Out of here. All right, so let's read. Hold up. Let me pull this down. Let's read. It say, according to astrologer Daniel T. Ferreira, whenever a great conjunction occurs during an election, and by great conjunction, it's talking about Saturn and Jupiter, okay? Or occurs during an election year or inauguration year, the president is likely to die in office. Again, great conjunctions in U.S. president deaths. According to financial astrologer Daniel T. Ferreira, whenever a great conjunction occurs during an election or inauguration year, okay, the president is likely to die in office. Okay, I've been talking about, I ain't trying to say nobody gonna die, all right, but I've been talking about that clone, all right? I ain't gonna say no names, but you know what I'm talking about, all right? If he get clipped, if we see him get clipped on camera, just know he got a clone in a bunker, all right? Careful analysis shows that although it remained correct from 1840 to 1960, okay, this rule started to lose its power after 1980. However, even though those presidents did not die in office, they still came close in each case. All right, so that means it was either an attempt on their life or they actually died. And this is the graph. You got William Henry Harrison, who died after, or on the year of a great conjunction. You got Abraham Lincoln and James Garfield, who died on the year of a great conjunction, or after a year, whatever, or was elected around, or on, a year of the great conjunction, and then they died after. And so you see this right here, right? This is the graph. Assassination, 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 assassination. Right here is cerebral hemorrhoids, shot but survived. You feel me? Pneumonia. So this energy, we about to see a lot going on this year, or towards the end of this year. We already at the end. We in October, but going on November. But you get what I'm saying. And November 4th or 3rd is coming, right? So I mean, I just want to say if I don't really care, but if the other dude won, the pedophile, it's gonna be a real revolution in this country. It's gonna be a real revolution in this country. All right, we know that. We know that. So if they do end up, and I'm not saying they're going to, but if they did end up, manipulating and doing a corrupt vote, and the pedophile wins, it's gonna be a real revolution. And I'm not playing with nobody. Alright? I'm not playing with nobody. But that's pretty much it. I love you all. I know y'all enjoy it. Alright? Time to ascend. Alright? Time to, cut all toxicity out of your life. Alright? Practice these things. Don't just look at it. Alright? And another thing, don't think it's hard. You don't gotta just implement these things into your life. Make it a lifestyle. Start now, today. Alright? The shift is happening now. DomUniverse taking off. I love you all.